The evacuation of 12 schoolboys trapped in a flooded cave in Thailand has begun and they could be out by tonight, the rescue commander announced this morning. An extraction team of 18 international divers started their extremely dangerous operation at 10 a.m. local time after the boys' anxious families were informed. All of the youngsters and their 25-year-old coach are expected to emerge one by one from the cave as early as 9 p.m. if everything goes to plan, Governor Narongsak told reporters on Sunday morning. Each boy will be accompanied by 2 divers on the perilous 4 kilometers (2.5 miles) journey through murky waters and narrow tunnels. It's understood they will be able to walk most of the way after teams drained the water level by 30 centimeters (12 inches) last night. Today is D-Day, the governor who has led the rescue announced. The water level has reached the lowest it has been in 10 days. We ask to pray that this operation is a success. The boys are physically and mentally fit to come out. All of the families have been told about today's operation. The youngsters will be led out of the tunnels one by one and taken directly to Chiang Rai Prachanakro Hospital, 57 kilometers (35 miles) from the cave. The most critical will be airlifted by helicopters, while the less fragile will be transported by ambulance. All of the boys have been told about the operation, which is being watched eagerly around the world, and they are ready to come out, the governor said. They are very strong and determined to come out and be reunited with their families. The rescue mission will continue until all of the stranded boys and their coach are safe, he said. The first boy may be out of the cave by 9 p.m. local time, but the mission could take 3 days. The evacuation team is made up of 18 divers. This includes 13 specialists who have come to Thailand for the operation and 5 highly experienced Thai divers. This is an all-star team of divers, Governor Narongsak said. Thai authorities removed the media, including dozens of foreign TV networks, photographers, and journalists, from the area around the entrance of the cave this morning. A fleet of ambulances is on standby at the remote forest site, and a helicopter landing strip has been hacked out of the dense jungle. The football team and coach have been trapped in the cave for more than 2 weeks after a squad bonding trek went horribly wrong. Thousands of rescuers, including Thai Navy SEALs and elite British divers, have been working around the clock to come up with a plan to bring the exhausted and starved boys home safely. But with gathering clouds that have already thundered down heavy rain for 90 minutes on Saturday night, authorities are anxious to push ahead before it's too late. Now and in the next 3 or 4 days, the conditions are perfect for evacuation in terms of the water, the weather and the boys' health, Chiang Rai Governor Narongsak Osatanakurn said. We have to make a clear decision on what we can do. Weather forecasts predict sustained thunderstorms lasting through Sunday and Monday, with further stormy weather for the next 2 weeks. In another sign that a rescue attempt was imminent, police early on Sunday morning local time began evacuating the area around the cave mouth in preparation, giving everyone until 9 a.m., 3 a.m. BST, to leave. Assessing the situation now, it is necessary to evacuate the area for the rescue operation, Maesai Police Commander Kamsan Sayardluin bellowed over a loudspeaker. Those unrelated to the rescue operation, please evacuate the area immediately. Then he said the boys were still learning to dive and were not yet strong enough to make the perilous escape through narrow tunnels that are at one point just 15 inches wide. Navigating the cave system takes an experienced diver more than 5 hours, and the boys were not back at full strength after suffering exhaustion and starvation before rescuers found them. However, it appeared not only was the imminent monsoon forcing rescuers' hands, but the dwindling oxygen supply inside the cave keeping the boys alive. When we're in a confined space, if the oxygen drops to 12%, the human body starts to slow down and people can fall unconscious, Governor Narongsak said. There's also carbon dioxide. If the oxygen levels are down and the carbon dioxide levels are up, then you can get too much carbon dioxide in your blood. Levels in the cave have fallen to 15%, down from a healthy level of 21%, due, ironically, to the presence of so many rescuers trying to free the boys. Rescuers have fed a kilometers-long air pipe into the cave to restore oxygen levels in the chamber, where the team are sheltering, accompanied by medics and expert divers. More than 100 exploratory holes have also been bored, some shallow, but the longest 400 meters deep into the mountainside, in an attempt to open a second evacuation route and avoid forcing the boys into a dangerous dive through submerged tunnels. When they were first found, the boys were fed the high-energy glucose gel used by elite sportsmen to rapidly boost their energy levels after so long without food. Although they have been reintroduced to solid food, it is by necessity all cold, and in their letters to their parents the boys dreamed of fried chicken. Governor Narongsak foreshadowed plans could rapidly change depending on the weather as a heavy downpour comes down into the caves like a tsunami. There is no chance the boys will come out today. It is not suitable, they still cannot dive, he said at a long-awaited press conference after midnight on Saturday local time. The children are learning how to dive. We'd like minimum risk, but we can't wait until it rains heavily and worsens the situation. If that happens, we'll need to reassess. The key thing is the kids' readiness to dive. If it rains and the situation is not good, we will try to bring the boys out. Elite Navy divers are on anxious standby to help the schoolboys through the terrifying narrow tunnels that are a huge struggle for even experienced divers to navigate through with murky route. At its narrowest part, a choke point of just 15 inches has a sharp upward bend followed by a downward slope. The boys would have to crawl out of the water swirling with silt in complete darkness guided by divers. Then they must clamber across a rocky peak before descending into the murky waters again. Officials have long feared the coming torrential rain would catastrophically flood the cave system in Chiang Rai and make rescue impossible. Should the rains further flood the cave, as predicted, the team could be trapped in the cave for more than 4 months until waters recede. However, Governor Narongsak appeared unwilling to let the 12 boys and their coach be stuck for that long, as he laughed when asked if they would be left inside. He said rescuers need to make the plan, that is the best plan, and we're assessing options. They will then test the plan to make sure it will work with a low enough risk. If the risk is minimal, we will try. We are afraid of the weather and the oxygen in the cave. We have to try to set the plan and find which plan is the best, he said. But he appeared to rule out tunneling through the rock to reach them in favor of the boys swimming out in dive gear or being pushed through the tunnel by divers. The boys entered through the front of the cave, they will come out through the front, he said. Governor Narongsak said the boys were still healthy and have practiced wearing diving masks and breathing in preparation for the diving possibility. When asked if he felt positively about the situation, he replied, "The world is perfect. I'm worried about everyone who participates in the rescue operation," he added. Officials have been planning to fit the boys with full-face oxygen masks and extract them 2 at a time with Navy chaperones. On Friday, after pumping out 130 million liters, the cave water levels had dropped by enough to enable the boys to pass some sections without going underwater. It means that an 11-hour return journey has apparently been cut to less than 6. He said the 2 British divers had yesterday visited the boys again, who were mostly in good condition, although 3 were now quite weak physically. Weaker than the other boys, but not in a serious condition. They are all mentally strong, he said. However, rescue teams are racing against time amid worsening weather and lowered oxygen levels, which may force rescuers to try pulling the boys out before they were fully ready. We can no longer wait for all conditions to be ready because circumstances are pressuring us, Naval Chief Apakern Yukonggiwa said. At first, we thought the children could stay for a long time, but now things have changed. The extreme dangers were brought home on Friday when former Thai Navy SEAL Saman Kunan drowned during the rescue operations preparations. The 38-year-old volunteered to help deliver oxygen tanks, though along underwater tunnel, but got into trouble underwater despite being an expert diver and a super-fit triathlon runner. His death prompted concerns over how 12 terrified children who cannot even swim would fare on the same hideous journey. Mr. Kunan's body was flown to his hometown in Royat for a royally sponsored funeral, with pictures showing military officials transporting his flag-draped coffin